Hey fam, Drex here, and if you are in the same boat that I am, then you're going to have a lot of time indoors in the coming few weeks. So, I'm going to do something very special. I'm going to be releasing a new video every single day for the coming week to help you bring poi into your life. Drex here from DrexFactor.com, bringing the love of poi spinning and flow arts into your world. And today I am starting a week-long series where every single day I'm going to give you all some piece of the puzzle that you're going to need to be able to spin poi as you are locked away from the rest of the world, yeah? Before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Monk, Flow Toys, Pyroterra Light Toys, LMF Props, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can check out more information about all these awesome channels and the things that they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links that I've got down in the description of this video. When it comes to activities that can be done indoors in a relatively small space, things that are going to take more than a little bit of brain power and everything and be able to divert you for hours on end, and finally stuff that is going to be at least a bit of a physical activity that can break up the drudgery of being indoors if you happen to get tired of binging Netflix, then guess what? I got the thing for you. Poi spinning. So all this week, basically, I'm going to be doing videos helping those of you out there that are sitting home trying to figure out how to navigate the boredom, a little something to work on, specifically having to do with poi spinning. And for our first day today, I am going to help you cross that most important of thresholds. We're going to make up a set of poi for you to use. So this video is going to be all about creating poi using common household products and seeing how that works out for us. I've picked out 3 different designs that you can make. So we're going to start off with what I think is probably the single most common design for poi ever, which is basically just weights that are dropped into the ends of socks and you tie off the ends. First up, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create the weights that we're going to drop into these. A lot of people are really fond of the idea of dropping tennis balls in the end of socks. I am not, because the tennis balls just don't weigh anything, and I prefer to have something that's got a little bit of heft to it to be able to spin with. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to use an age-old standby, rice. Our first mission is going to be basically to drop that rice into a pair of little Ziploc baggies here. You can also use water balloons for this and they'll create a more kind of spherical form factor for you to work with and everything. I'm just using Ziploc bags because they're what's handy. And it's getting all over the place because of course it is. Cool, so that's like 3/4 cup of rice-ish, which is pretty close to what I was looking for anyway, so I'm gonna call that a win. Now I'm just going to drop all of that rice into this Ziploc bag and try my best not to spill it everywhere as I do so. Now for the socks, this one's inside out, so we'll flip it back direction that'll work better for us. Drop one of these bundles in the end. And I'm mainly just tying it off so I've got something to use functionally as a handle. And now dropping in the other one, tying it off. Sweet! And I have a set of poi that I can work with. These are super duper easy to make. You can do it in less than 5 minutes. And this is probably the oldest and most common recipe for homemade poi out there. You know, while it may be easy, I honestly don't use sock poi very often because they tend to stretch a lot as you're using them, and I find that that can be a little bit unwieldy. But, you know, hey, if you're just looking for something to get you through the week, this will totally work for you. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at some other methods for making poi that might take a little bit more time. Okay, so how you make a monkey fist knot. Basically, I'm going to take a long length of this rope here and everything, and I am going to go ahead and wrap it around the top of my hand 3 times. That is 1, 2, 3 loops over top. And the next time it comes around, I'm going to have it veer off to the right-hand side here, yeah? And I wrap it around once, I wrap it around twice, I wrap it around 3 times, boom, excellent. And now I'm going to push the end of it through this hole up top here. Now I'm going to wrap this bit of it kind of around the middle section here. If you're not getting enough detail on how I'm doing this from this video, I'm also going to link to a little kind of infographic picture that'll show you exactly how I'm tying this knot. Cool. So basically what you want to have in the end is on each individual side, you should see 3 coils of the rope. This is what's called a 3-bite knot. But now I'm going to shove one of these doll heads in here. Again, you don't have to do this, but it will help the knot kind of like hold on to its shape and everything. So now the time has come to start basically tightening this knot down and turning it permanently into its future shape. Cool, so the way I'm going to do that is basically I'm going to take this loose end of the knot here, this very tip right here, and I'm going to start threading it back through the knot, almost like I'm trying to pull the knot out, but you really, really, really do not actually want to pull out the end. Ta-da! So check it out. We now have a 3-bite monkey fist that has that little doll's head in the inside of it and everything. Basically, I'm going to measure it out from my thumb joint to my shoulder joint. And right there, I'm going to go ahead and put a little, well, I might as well just thread the entire rope through at this point. Cool, so I tie off just a simple overhand knot here and everything. Make sure that's good and snug. Make sure I still got it the same length. And this is my poi. Now I take a pair of scissors and start cutting. Cool. So now I'm going to melt each end with a lighter. Sweet. So now I has one monkey fist poi. Let's see me make up another here. All right, cool. It's not quite as pretty as the other one, but it will do, yeah? Sweet. And I now have a pair of monkey fist practice poi and everything. So the benefits of doing this are that the design's pretty simple and doesn't require a lot of materials. If you've got rope, then you literally have all you need to put this together. On the flip side of things, these are not soft, and depending upon how you look at the experience of learning, you may want softer poi for those impacts, or maybe you prefer to have harder poi so that in the grand scheme of things, you have more direct feedback for what went wrong, yeah? All right, so our final design, so these are going to be based upon a design that a person on my Facebook group, Drex Factor Poi Flow Enthusiasts, I'll leave a link down in the description, showed off when I was talking about doing this series. And the coolest thing about it is that it is poi that are made out of reclaimed garbage bags. And this is the first time I've ever tried a design like this, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to turn out. We need a bunch of garbage bags. I like hold on to them in a little Kleenex box because I just find it's a really easy way to be able to store them. You need a tape measure, a set of scissors, of course, and this. What is this? So this is a template basically for weaving rope, a loom. I made it out of a coaster that I got at Burning Man a few years ago. I basically drilled a hole through the center, and I've cut 8 different, basically just slits into the edges of it, and you're going to see why in a second. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to fold over a garbage bag into quarters, and now, hopefully this will work, I need to cut the bags across the bottom to get rid of just like all the bottom weirdness that you get with plastic bags. And now I'm going to need to cut off 7 sections. Yes, there are 8 different cuts in the edge of this, but I need 7 sections of this, and you'll see why in a second. So basically, I'm just going to try and go for sections that are like basically an inch across. So I should note as I'm doing this that out of the 3 designs here, this is probably the one that is probably going to be the most time intensive, as well as the only one that I have never attempted myself before. So this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. So you'll note that basically each of these is going to be a loop, and they're all just like a little messed up and everything, and that's actually perfectly okay because we don't need them to be even. And also too, I'm pretty sure that a bunch of these are going to have loose ends, and the loose ends are also fine at this point because we're going to need to cut down a couple of them anyway. Okay, so here is where our tape measure comes in. Each of these is approximately 18 inches long, right? So I only need one of them to be 18 inches long. The next one down, I'm going to need to be 16, and then 14, and then 12, and then 10, so on and so forth. Basically, I need them to step down piece by piece, which is why it didn't matter that I cut the ends off of one of these, because I actually need to trim all of them down overall. All right, so I now have all of my ends cut and everything, so it is time for me to go ahead and put them in the loom. I want to take the loose ends, put them all together here. It doesn't really matter what order they go in. And once I've got them all together, I'm going to twist them up a wee bit, and I'm going to tie them all together into a simple overhand knot. Now I'm going to poke them through my little washer here, or my coaster, I should say. And I'm going to start pulling the loose trash bags. And remember, the loose end should still have the loop in them, and that's really important. But I'm going to start working my way around the edge of the coaster, basically putting a single garbage bag loop into every single one of these spaces that I've cut. Okay, cool. So we now have our garbage bags arranged around with one blank. And the reason that one is blank is that that is going to be how we're going to weave this whole thing together. I'm going to count off 1, 2, 3 spaces counterclockwise from that point. I'm going to pull that garbage bag out of that notch, and I'm going to bring it over to the empty notch. I'm going to rotate it around and come around to the empty notch once again. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 ends away from there. I'm going to pull out that garbage bag end and bring it over to bang back in that empty notch again. And as you might be able to pick up already, what we're doing then is we're basically braiding this section in the middle. So I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit so you don't have to sit through me weaving this entire thing. As you're doing this, of course, go ahead and pull out on that knot just a little bit every time things start bunching up in the middle, because that is what is going to lead to your final rope here. Oh my lord, so here we are an hour and 40 minutes later. So I basically decided that I was going to make only one piece of rope and tie it off at either end, and then like cut it in the middle and try and put weights on the parts in the middle and everything, just because for one thing, the loom that I'm using is rapidly falling apart. I would strongly recommend that if you want to make rope using this method, that you pretty please do so with a material that is more heavy duty than the cardboard that I used. The poi that are going to come out of this are going to be significantly shorter than the sock poi and the monkey fist poi, but to be honest with you, I just don't have the patience to make more of this stuff. And of course, you know, if you wanted to, you could, without too much terrible difficulty, make enough of this that you could just create your own set of monkey fist poi with these. But I have something slightly different in mind, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this off and show you what that is. I'm going to go ahead and wrap each of these up in their own individual garbage bag here. You know what, I'm just going to tie them to each other, because quite frankly, I'm just like, there is such a possibility that this is just not going to work. So let's do the thing that you know is going to work. Yep, there we go. That is a poi. It's kind of ugly poi, but it's a poi. All right, so there we are. Those are 3 sets of poi, ranging from quick to medium to, oh God, oh God, oh God, when is it going to end long? And any one of these 3 will get you through the first kind of round of tricks I'll be teaching in the next few days. So do make sure to tune in. Basically, I'm going to do my best to teach you stuff that I think is going to work inside of a small space if you happen to be practicing inside of a living room or what have you. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to show me the poi that you make in the course of watching this and getting ready to practice a bit at home, please do. You can tag me on Instagram at DrexFactor. You can also tag me on Facebook at DrexFactorPoi and everything. And I'm looking forward to seeing what y'all produce out there. Pretty please, if you would support the channel, head on over to patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi and sign up to help out. This is a list of people that already do so and for whom I am very, very, very thankful. Also make sure to please like, share, and subscribe, and I will be seeing you all tomorrow with a tutorial on how to do basic real turns. Yeah? Cool. Thanks, and I'll see you then. Peace.